we are promised a night of entertainment, information, and excitement as America goes public.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Henry Fonda.
This telethon will now come to order. As Chairman Pro Tem, I welcome you, the audience, and the many stars who will entertain us during the evening. I have the honor of presenting at this time the honored guests who will also participate in this celebration. Here are some distinguished Democratic Party leaders who, in their high offices, represent all Americans. Our keynote speaker of the evening is a celebrated citizen from North Carolina. Addressing us from Washington, here is Senator Sam Ervin, Jr.
Thank you. My name is Sam Ervin, and I am a United States Senator from North Carolina. I am a Democrat, but I am first and foremost an American. I love my country. With all its faults, our system of government is still the best in the world. But in the past several months, we have learned one very important lesson. The way to make our democracy better is to get the people of America back into politics. Our founding fathers said the same thing in the first 3 words of the Constitution: we, the people. The preamble then spells out the purposes of the new American government: to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. Our fathers wrote these words nearly 200 years ago, but these are goals that must be ratified anew by every generation of Americans. In a very real sense, we must sign our names to the Constitution, just as George Washington, James Madison, Alexander Hamilton, and Benjamin Franklin signed theirs. Yes, we the people is the essential factor in moving forward as a united and free country. This is why the Democratic National Telethon is so important. Both political parties, Democratic and Republican, have for too long depended on a few large contributors. Today we know in some detail why this is bad, but it doesn't have to be this way. The people can speak and the people can be heard if the people act. Small contributions from millions of Americans are the best possible insurance that the public interest, and not just special interests, will prevail. So our appeal this evening is not just to Democrats. We believe it's time to put the people in charge of both parties. America's greatness always flows from the greatness of her people. This is surely a time for greatness. Tonight you can be a great American.
Happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed.
The shepherd, gentlemen, has never sought the consent of the sheep.
Shepherds, Your Majesty, in the long run, rob the sheep of their wool, kill them, and eat them.
Very so.
Now, to continue, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it and to institute new government.
Oh, my. What a pity, Mr. Payne, that your fine, flowery words are motivated chiefly by the contempt in which you evidently hold royalty.
You misunderstand my views, Your Majesty.
I do not, sir.
Oh, yes. I am not the personal enemy of kings or queens.
Oh, really?
Particularly one so attractive as yourself.
Thank you, sir.
On
Very
the
kind.
contrary, on the contrary, no man wishes more heartily than myself to see them all in a happy and honorable state as private individuals. But I am the avowed, open, and intrepid enemy of the institution of the monarchy. It is against the hell of monarchy, of tyranny, that I declared eternal war. I wish you personally, Your Majesty, the very best of good fortune.
Your Majesty, what would have happened to Mr. Payne in your time if he had made such statements?
Executed. He would have been executed,
Yes,
Mr. President.
I thought so.
You see, heresy and treason were never tolerated in my time, nor should they ever be.
Oh?
Instant apprehension and execution saved a great deal of time and energy and useless debate such as this. It also helped to preserve and perpetuate the state. The Egyptian Empire did not last for so many thousands of years by tolerating troublemakers.
Do you deny, Your Majesty, that the common citizens have any rights?
They have such rights, sir, as wise rulers choose to grant them.
If all rulers were wise, Your Majesty, there would be no need for revolution.
Well said, Mr. President.
Outrageous.
What?
I think perhaps we better take a new tack here. Well, now, let's sum up. The colonies declared their independence. War broke out. General Washington, as we know, was declared commander-in-chief. But the American forces were not victorious right from the start, were they, Mr. Payne?
Oh, far from it, sir. No, the war dragged on for 7 agonizing years, and much of that time was spent in suffering, defeat, and humiliation. It was as a result of these sufferings that I wrote the following lines, which you may remember. These are the times that try men's souls. The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will, in this crisis, shrink from the service of his country. But he that stands it now deserves the love and thanks of men and women. Tyranny, like hell, is not easily conquered. Yet we have this consolation with us, that the harder the conflict, the more glorious the triumph. What we obtain too cheap, we esteem too lightly. You know, it's funny. When I walked this earth, I used to think that if only we could be rid of George III, William Pitt, Robespierre, and others I regarded as evil, that perhaps the rest of men could more happily work out their destinies. But now I realize that the essential battleground is within the heart of every man. Each of us must resist apathy. Each of us must be on guard against his own prejudices. Each of us must refuse to be guided solely by his own selfish interest.
In literature, there are no more stirring words than our Declaration of Independence. In music, there are no more stirring groups than the Fifth Dimension. Here are the words and the music.
film clip you've just seen was furnished by United Artists.
Thanks very much, Thomas Brothers. I understand Tom is opening at the Cellar Door in Washington in a day or two. We have so many wonderful people on the panel. I wish we had time to chat with every one of them. Unfortunately, we're doing a 3-week show in just a few hours, and we only have about a little over 45 minutes left, so we can't. We have Ann Elder here, one of the funniest ladies in the business. You've enjoyed her and laughing. And Bill Dana, one of the funniest gentlemen. You've been laughing at him all the time, too. We have Sandra Gould and so many wonderful people. Karen Morrow is up there in the back row. And Johnny Olson, our favorite announcer, is down there at the other end, and we have all these marvelous people, some of them you've met before, and I did want you to be sure to take a good look at them there. As I say, I wish we had the time to give them the credit they deserve. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the top men in, probably Mr. Television this season, once again, Carol O'Connor of All in the Family. That sounds like a tobacco auctioneer, right?
Yeah.
As I said at the beginning of the show, it's a 21-hour show, but we're talking real fast and doing it in 7 hours.
I have in front of me pitch number 8, two-party system. With all imperfections, it works better. Most countries don't give a damn. No, choice. Don't give a choice. That's pitch 8. Should I do pitch 8?
You want to? Go right ahead.
Yeah, most countries don't have a choice. Can you imagine national TV telethon for those countries? No. Absolutely not. And last year, one-party system, 9 million versus so forth. Well, anyway, we have a two-party system, and I guess we've all got to cough up money to keep it going. Otherwise, there'll only be one.
That's right. And this particular night, Carol, as you know, we only have, as I said, just a little over 45 minutes left. We still have a great deal of entertainment. Some of your top favorites, such as Carol O'Connor, are still to come on the program here. And it's the show itself is getting hotter as we go along. And I've just seen some pretty exciting news over there, so we'll refer quickly to the total board. They're asking me to wait for just a couple of more seconds because they think
amount of money
we're going to get a few more dollars in. What'd you say, sir? We need one more minute before you show the board. All right. Some people, because of the references to credit cards early in the evening, have apparently gotten the mistaken impression that a credit card is somehow required in connection with pledges. Not at all. You don't have to have a credit card. If you do, fine. If not, doesn't matter. And if you do have one, you don't have to use it. The main thing is get on that phone. Please call our operators or our stars here and tell us the good news about how much you personally can spare. Are we almost ready for that excitement? Okay. This is really an exciting moment, and we still have more time to go after this. But at this point, I want you to give yourselves a hand all around the country, those of you who have helped us reach this point. Here comes our new total. Figures are being revised, they tell me, in just a moment. Here it comes. We passed the 4 million mark. 4 million.
Se habla español en estos números.
Terrific. Come on in, John. John, come on back in here. I want you to hear this story.
might say, Steve, that this is a record for the Democratic Party. Last year we had $4,003,000, so this broke our record for last year. We've got almost an hour left to go. That's terrific.
We have so much that remains to cover in the program, only 45 minutes left. We're going to ask you to please hold the balloon breaking if you can possibly do that. I know we have some youngsters out there in the audience and it is fun with the balloons, but we do ask you please for just a moment if you could just hold that down, or maybe you can take the balloon home and break it in the parking lot or something of that sort, because we have some very important things we want to get to. Something very moving. In just a moment. A few years ago, Rosie Greer, as a member of the Los Angeles Rams' fearsome foursome, created a lot of love and or fear, depending on which side of the line of scrimmage you found yourself on. So will you join me now in welcoming that fearsome onesome, Mr. Roosevelt Greer.
Thank you, Steve. I bet many of you fell in love this summer instantly, just as I did when I was watching a television commercial, and it was a little kid by the name of Rodney Allen Rippey. And the other day, we invited him and some cameras into a studio, and here's part of that conversation. Now, this kid is something else.
You know what the president is? You know who the president is?
President Nixon.
That's the president. All right. Now, what do you think? Should a president be brave, smart, tough, or funny?
Brave.
Brave. A president should be brave.
Yeah.
How much money do you think a president should make of the United States?
$1,000.
A week? $1,000 a week. That'd be 52 weeks. $52,000. That'd be pretty good money. What do you think?
That's a lot of bread.
Well, tell the people send in a contribution. Tell them. Look out there and say, hey, you somewhere.
Hey, somewhere.
Send in a contribution.
Send in a contribution.
Rodney Allen Rippey is only 5 years old. The year he was born, a man he never got a chance to meet was campaigning for the Democratic nomination, a man we all remember. And I'm sure many of you loved him as much as I still do.
In the spring of 1968, he made the most important political decision of his life: to run for the presidency of the United States. Not merely to oppose any man, but to seek new policies to close the gaps.
I don't think it's tolerable that young men and young women growing up in our great city are not able to find jobs. I don't think it's tolerable here in this country that a young boy or a young girl, even when they finish school, are illiterate and uneducated, and therefore can't go on to either a college or university or on to an employment. And I think white and black, poor and rich together, that we can work together. Jefferson once said about the United States that we were the last best hope of mankind. That's what I want the United States to be. This is a generous and compassionate country. That's what I want this country to stand for. Not violence, not lawlessness, not disorder, but compassion and love and peace. That's what this country should stand for, and that's what I intend to do if I'm elected president.
All this life, I love
evening of April the 4th, somewhere over Indiana, Robert Kennedy was informed that Martin Luther King had been shot. Again the bullet, again the agony.
Martin Luther King dedicated his life to love and to justice between fellow human beings. He died in the cause of that effort. In this difficult day, in this difficult time for the United States, it's perhaps well to ask what kind of a nation we are and what direction we want to move in. For those of you who are black and are tempted to be filled with hatred and mistrust of the injustice of such an act against all white people, I would only say that I can also feel in my own heart the same kind of feeling. I had a member of my family killed, but he was killed by a white man. But we have to make an effort in the United States. We have to make an effort to understand, to get beyond or go beyond these rather difficult times. What we need in the United States is not division. What we need in the United States is not hatred. What we need in the United States is not violence and lawlessness, but is love and wisdom and compassion toward one another, feeling of justice toward those who still suffer within our country, whether they be white or whether they be black. And dedicate ourselves to what the Greeks wrote so many years ago, to tame the savageness of man and make gentle the life of this world. Let us dedicate ourselves to that and say a prayer for our country and for our people.
The prayer he asked for America would not be answered in his lifetime. Perhaps for his children, but not for him.
My brother need not be idealized or enlarged in death beyond what he was in life. To be remembered simply as a good and decent man who saw wrong and tried to right it, saw suffering and tried to heal it, saw war and tried to stop it. Those of us who loved him pray that what he was to us, what he wished for others, will someday come to pass for all the world. As he said many times in many parts of this nation, to those he touched and who sought to touch him, some men see things as they are and say, why? I dream things that never were and say, why not?
That you write down, if you have a pen handy, write down the number that you've just seen or have been seeing earlier in the evening, because we're not going to be on the air all night. However, we have very exciting news. Has it reached you, John?
Yes, it has, Steve.
We are going to be able to do one more hour in addition to the original 7 we planned. We're staying on to raise more money for the party.
Steve, I might also say that this number up here, 4,216,000, is the biggest fundraiser this nation's ever had, and it's in an off-election year, and it's for 7 hours, where last year we were for 20 hours. So we're going to go for the 5 million. That's why we bought one more hour.
Terrific. We must explain there are just a few stations on the NBC network across the country that, for very important reasons of their own, will not be able to stay with us in this extra time.
Once again, it's time to return to Steve Allen and a panel of great figures from history. As you know, we're giving thought this evening to the question, just what is it that distinguishes the United States among all the other nations of the world? That question leads immediately to such important factors as the freedom guaranteed by our Constitution, the idea of democracy, patriotism, the American Revolution, and the participation of the people in the business of running this country. But our visitors from history will not just repeat political cliches. They'll hear arguments against our American principles, and you'll see founding fathers defending those principles. Now it's time for another meeting of the minds.
Welcome back. We return now to our discussion of freedom. Mr. President, what does freedom mean to you?
Equal and exact justice for all men. Freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom of person under the protection of habeas corpus, and trials by juries impartially selected. Now, these few protections make it at least possible that men can enjoy life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Mr. Jefferson, your Bill of Rights would more accurately be described as a Bill of Wrongs.
Oh.
And you are poorly advised, sir, if you think that most people seriously care about the freedom of others.
Oh, that's a master stroke, Your Majesty. I congratulate you.
Oh, and for what, sir?
You've put your finger squarely on the most difficult problem facing those who would defend and enlarge the freedom of mankind. Because you're absolutely right, of course. And all too often, when people talk about freedom, what they're really interested in is their own freedom.
Well said, Mr. Jefferson. I believe it was Lord Acton who said the most certain test by which we judge whether a country is really free is the amount of security enjoyed by minorities.
Precisely, Mr. Roosevelt. You see, the powerful can always take care of their own freedom, and the majority may well have the strength to take care of its own freedom. But it's the freedom of the small, relatively defenseless groups that is crucial.
Now, come, gentlemen. Just what practical good does it do your small, defenseless groups when you make your pretty speeches about this word freedom? Just what practical good?
Your Majesty, you know, you have a remarkable facility for cutting to the bone of a problem.
I'm glad you're clever enough to perceive it, Mr. President.
Well, thank you, Your Majesty. But, you know, I, too, would hope that people would not be so foolish as to bow down and worship this little word freedom itself. As a word, purely as an abstraction, it is almost meaningless. And I believe that I speak for Presidents Jefferson and Roosevelt when I say that we never dreamed that some Americans today would think that they actually demonstrate their patriotism by speaking the word freedom, by saluting the flag, or by criticizing other nations. If you wish to be known as a loyal American, it is to our American ideals that you must be loyal.
Very well said. Sincerely a lover of freedom, you will work as hard as you can to increase the freedom of the Negro, the Indian, the Mexican, the immigrant, the poor man, the conscientious objector.
The farm worker?
Yes, the farm worker also. Any and all of those who most frequently have these liberties restricted. Now, we must be very specific. Now, if a black man, shall we say, wishes to speak out merely on his civil rights, or if he tries to vote, or if he makes a speech that you don't want to hear, and thereafter you punish that man, then you are unpatriotic, you are an enemy of freedom, and you are un-American.
Very good. That's well said, Mr. President.
Flatter the rabble if you must, gentlemen, but what you need is less freedom and more law and order.
Well,
no doubt about it.
Oh, Your Majesty.
Your Majesty, while you exaggerate, you still do point to a problem again.
Yes.
I congratulate you.
Thank you.
You know, sometimes I wonder if the average man really understands that it simply does not make sense to, on the one hand, say, give me all the freedom in the world, and on the other hand, say, give me all the law and order in the world.
Whatever else a law is, it's also a restriction on freedom. Is that your point?
Yes, in a sense. Perhaps one thing our comments might suggest is that freedom is not something a nation acquires, in the sense that it might acquire a new battleship or a piece of territory. But rather, freedom is a moral question, which intelligent citizens are compelled to wrestle with every day, just as they wrestle with all the other moral questions. Freedom, you see, makes certain demands on the individual, which he does not have to worry about when he simply receives irresistible orders from above. A free man is obliged constantly to make important choices, decisions. Some people are uncomfortable making decisions. They want to be given orders.
Of course, and they should be given orders.
Nevertheless, Your Majesty, tyranny is always evil.
Thank you.
And now, here is the senior senator from California, Alan Cranston.
One of the questions I'm often asked is, how did you ever happen to get into politics? That's not only a good question, it's an important question, because many, many people, especially these days, look upon politics as one of the most undesirable of occupations. I disagree, and I'll tell you why. In the 1930s, as a young graduate of Stanford University, I was hired by the International News Service as a foreign correspondent. I ended up in Europe, where I covered the rise of fascism and Nazism under Hitler and Mussolini. It was, as they say, a political education. I watched the wholesale destruction of political and personal freedoms in Germany and Italy. I learned what the fascist powers planned for the rest of us. But I learned something more, that you never take democracy for granted. Our government can be no better than the people that we elect to office, and no better than our willingness to get personally involved. Later, in the 1950s, I put these lessons to work. I helped establish the California Democratic Council, what we call the CDC, as one way of bringing new life to the Democratic Party. I eventually ran for public office, first at the state level, then for the U.S. Senate. But I doubt whether any of this would have happened if I hadn't covered Hitler and Mussolini in the 1930s and seen what took place when the people of those countries didn't care. This story not only answers how I got into politics, but why I got into politics. And it helps explain the purpose of this Democratic telethon. Much of the money you contribute will help state and local Democratic parties find young men and women, capable men and women, to run for public office, as well as help those already in office do a better job. We need people who believe that elective public office is a public trust and who can run for office with no strings attached. We need people who care about you. This is how we can keep democracy alive in America. And this is why we need your support tonight. I urge those of you from California to help us lead the way again. Contribute, Californians, and contribute, Americans. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks.
Now, once again, here is Mr. Dick Van Dyke.
You listen to all these speakers around here tonight, you think that all Democrats are perfect. You know that's not true. I know that's not true. I mean, even these people who are saying it's true know it's not true. I mean, after all, there are, what, 53 million registered Democrats in this country, and any objective observer knows darn well there are some who don't live up to the letter of the law. For instance, how many of you can look into your souls and truthfully say you always close cover before striking, and you never speak to the driver while the bus is in motion? You always, for instance, open the other end? Huh? I'll bet there are some of you who have torn the tags off your mattresses and have entered the pool without rinsing your feet. You probably folded, spindled, mutilated, too. You always return after 5 days? Do you ever remain seated in the plane until it's reached the terminal? Or turn along the dotted line? Oh, folks, please, come on. Let's face it, Democrats are not perfect by a long shot. Most of us are just as human as Republicans. Hmm?
Some of the most exciting experiences in government are taking place at the state level. Generally, when we have a
$1,000, whatever my
my mouth said. Anyway, the money is coming in, and that's thanks to you. Give yourselves a big hand all the way around the country. But of course, there are some who have not as yet made their contribution. I'm going to indulge now, just for a couple of seconds, in perhaps the oldest telethon cliche of them all. But it's a cliche because it's an important thought that needs to be repeated. It's very easy to feel an excitement about calling in saying, I'll give $50 or $100 or $500. Therefore, if all you can afford is $1 or $2 or $5, you may feel, well, that's kind of small potatoes. It is not. We may have 30 million people watching this show this evening, throughout the evening on the NBC network. If every person gave $1, obviously, we'd have $30 million. So whatever you have, get it in. The place to send it, after all the phoning is over, is Box 1974, Washington, D.C. And now, as most of you know, one of the more versatile actors in our community is Jim Backus, pride of Cleveland, Ohio, for your Ohioans watching. He's a serious actor in films, as well as the cartoon voice of Mr. Magoo. Our cameras take you now to visit him and his wife, Henny, as two other people. Watch this.
Yes. Good evening, friends of America. For those of you not in the social register, I am Thurston Howell III. You know dear old Dad, I'm sure. Thurston Howell first and second. Dad is very, very wealthy. Oh, yes. This lovely creature here is my wife, Henny Howell.
True. We Howells never marry beneath our station.
Quite. So naturally, we have to keep it all in the family. Now, we are here to speak for a minority group in this great land of ours, the filthy rich. I mean, after all, if this is a democracy, we're entitled to present our side of the picture, too, aren't we? I mean, good Lord. Like you, we Howells have had to tighten our money belts, too. Because of the gasoline shortage, whenever one of our cars runs out, we have to buy a new one. And I mean, that is so extravagant. In the old days, when we could refill the tank, a new car would sometimes last us for weeks. And look what has happened to our country place. Last week, we had to sell the North 40, but we did keep the 10 southern states.
Our winter home is in Florida.
So true. I'm glad you reminded me. The house in West Palm Beach, and even there, we had to close half of it to save on heating bills. Those Vermont winters are so severe. And have you been to the market lately? I mean, really. The prices. Now, you take coffee. Fortunately, I bought my futures when they were down.
And diamonds.
Oh, yes. Diamonds. It's gotten so that poor Henny here can't buy her new ones when her old ones get dirty. She has to wash her old diamonds. And I mean, that is such a drag. Rushing from Yankee Stadium to Candlestick Park, from the Astrodome to Wrigley Field.
Well, actually, darling, it's not so bad. Fortunately, AstroTurf is drip dry.
Oh, great girl, and she's such a marvelous hostess. The huge, lavish parties we used to give, you know, hors d'oeuvre on the terrace, cocktails in Paris, that sort of thing. Not anymore. Now we just have small, intimate parties.
Small, intimate, tacky little parties.
As a matter of fact, the last big party we had was the Republican. And that was such a great success. And I won't forget, we had baked Alaska for dessert. Fortunately, our oven is big enough.
Even though the Aleutians did hang out.
So true. Now, actually, the Howells got here long before the Republicans. We were here before the Pilgrims. In fact, the Pilgrims never would have gotten here if it hadn't been for we Howells. It's a little-known fact that the Mayflower arrived C.O.D. That's where Cape Cod got its name, C.O.D. That was a pretty one.
I have the distinct impression that some of them resent us very, very rich people.
Yes, I know that you paupers out there resent the fact that a lot of us multimillionaires don't pay any taxes at all. But be fair, try seeing it from our point of view. Face it, if we all had to pay taxes, everybody would be broke.
That would not be nice.
I also know that you Democrats are putting on the show because you want money, that's all. You always want money. But I don't know why you're appealing to Americans for it. Why don't you appeal to the Mexicans who sent all that money to the Republicans? Anyway, if you Democrats really want money, my bride here has a smashing idea. Will you tell them, my dear?
Well, if it's money you're after, the Democratic Party should divorce itself from the political system. Just divorce itself completely and live off the alimony.
That's a smashing idea, darling. I adore you. Kiss Teddy. Thank you.
Charge, Democrats, charge. First, decide how much you can contribute. Then have your credit card handy. Call in your pledge and be ready to read your credit card number. It's that simple. So pick up your phone now and charge, Democrats, charge.
We don't have any credit cards, do we?
Are you kidding?
Then I think I'll mail them $10.
Mail them 20. By the time it gets there, it'll be worth 10.
Democratic National Party, Post Office Box 9999, Washington, D.C. 20015.
My name's Jack Cooper, and I'm a member of a minority group in Hollywood. I'm a native Californian. You all know California. This is where San Clemente is. It's also where San Quentin is. The past few months, I've seen a bumper sticker that reads, "Don't blame me, I didn't vote." Well, that might be funny, except for one thing. A writer named George Gene Nathan said it best: bad officials are elected by good citizens who do not vote. To make sure that every citizen participates in the election of our next officials, the Democratic Party is asking us all to ride a wave that's surging across the country, the rebirth of confidence in our system of government. We Californians are determined to get our destiny back in the hands of the people. So come on, California, hang 10 on this wave billowing America back to greatness. Let's stand up for our rights, as proud as our redwoods, as resolute as our mountains, and as ceaseless as our booming surf. Call this number and let freedom ring. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Governor. We want to thank a couple of our stations specifically. We thank them all for a good many obvious reasons, but I am talking at the moment about KNBC here in Los Angeles and station KRO in San Francisco, because they have decided that they worked it out very fast. They're going to stay with us, and I believe they're taking their newscast and just sliding them back later in the evening. We're very indebted to you, gentlemen, for that. Thank you.
Well, Steve, we hope all the affiliates across the station with NBC will hold open for this last hour so we can really hit a grand slam home run. We're moving along now. We're up to 4,661,000. So we're on our way to 5 million.
You know, it's really thrilling. That is absolutely the proper word to use, John, because what we're seeing tonight is the people of the party help the party of the people, and it's a very exciting thing that we're participating in. The numbers are still going higher, 4,662,824 now.
And let's remind one more time now, half of what you give, up to $50 on a joint return and $25 on a single return, doesn't cost you anything because you get a tax credit. So just remember that. We'll give you a receipt when we send you an envelope after you call that number on your screen.
And that all-important bit of information again, in addition to the pledging and the calling, the important thing ultimately to do is to send in the money, and you mail it simply to Box 1974. Very easy to remember, Box 1974, Washington, D.C.
Also, Steve, half of this money, as we mentioned earlier in the program, goes back to each state, so they can use it for their own needs there.
Very good point. We've been on the air now for just about our 7 hours, and if you just joined us within the last few minutes, we're staying on for another hour. Because of such a great wave of last-minute excitement across the country, so many calls, happily, are coming in, and we do want to accommodate them. If we happen to be going off the air in your particular city, no reason you can't continue to call. We'll still be on deck here hoping to talk to our operators around the country. We will be doing that. We pause now briefly for station identification.
They should pledge all they can give. Give Democrats charge on the credit cards.
God bless you. You're a good man, Charlie Harris. Bless your heart.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Thank you for calling. We really appreciate it. And I think we have some really thrilling news to share with you right now. If the kettle drummer is still with us. Oh, really? I'd like to announce we're buying a new kettle drum, I guess.
You're right.
I am right. No, here comes the big news. Seriously. Here's our new total.
Keep smiling in June. Your silvery beams will bring love's dreams. We'll be cuddling soon. Until the rain. One more chorus. You know, the world is getting tired of dull people.
Much has been made tonight of men like Jefferson and Lincoln and Roosevelt, men whose very presence moved America forward. That's all well and good. But America also has been moved forward by lesser-known men and women, dedicated public servants who, in their time, contributed to the massive body of laws that govern us as a nation, and yet whose names have been lost to all but the most industrious of historians. And I have here Library of Congress pamphlet number 273691-4A2B, revised, which lists this legislation and the people who proposed it, and I'd like to share some of that with you tonight. Now, few of us remember Representative Crawford Gum of Nebraska, but it was Crawford Gum who single-handedly bulled through the Gum Law, which stipulates that no head of any foreign power may address a joint session of Congress while wearing an open-neck sports shirt. Now, it's seldom discussed, but this law has been quietly enforced for over 78 years, thanks to Mr. Gum. Representative Giles Rudkin of Vermont, whose legislation makes it illegal in all but 3 states to deface a public official. And there's Senator Fletcher Beaumont of Florida, whose bill makes it illegal to practice dentistry on a yacht. But this is better known as the Beaumont offshore drilling bill. There is more recent legislation proposed by environmentalist Todd Whitney of Illinois, which stipulates that should Lake Erie catch fire, the fire cannot be put out with Lake Huron. Now, Representative Whitney of the House Banking and Currency Committee also proposed that legislation which prohibits visas being issued to any immigrant who, when asked if he advocates overthrowing the United States government by force or violence, chooses violence. And Raymond Lyon, here, late of Virginia, he proposed the controversial bill that was finally vetoed by Eisenhower that would have the Pentagon moved to Death Valley because there's ample parking space. And a bill introduced by Representative John A. Hoyt of Delaware. And that makes it mandatory that when a presidential party or any official with ambassadorial rank or better is traveling overseas, reservations must be booked at least 3 hours in advance at any Ramada Inn. Oh, yes, finally. Representative Laura Lampell of Oregon. She recently proposed a bill, at this date is still in committee, which will forbid any campaigning politician to kiss a baby on the first date. Now, I'm sure that you join me in congratulating these obscure legislators. Not only on their legislation, but on their obscurity.
Who'd handled all of our talent, did an outstanding job.
Mrs. Milton Berle, Ruth Berle, ladies and gentlemen, who arranged all of our talent for us, and we could not have done this show literally. Let's get the whole gang up here. Come on. Everybody, come on up. Ruth and Bobby Shearer, our director, who, winging his show all the way, did a fantastic job with all of his crew. Let's everybody come right up on stage. And, Nick, keep the phones ringing.
Keep it coming. We're doing great. We're over 5,300,000 so far. Frank Dehaney here has handled all of our money. I'd like for my wife to come up here, too. I haven't seen her for 3 months. So, Ellie, come on up. Mrs. Strauss, Helen, you come on up here, too. All right. All right. Here comes the first team here. Y'all come on up here. Have you all made your contribution yet?
Yeah, we did.
Bob, I feel like I ought to say, but all we can say is thank you. Thank you for helping all of you that gave your time, that have the American spirit, that you've been with us, and that you believed enough in America that maybe we can put it all back together again, and maybe again that we can think that we are the greatest country the world's ever known. We're going to do it. Believe in us. Keep believing it'll happen. Nick Vanoff, thank you. Thank you so much, Nick. There's Dorothy Bush. There she is. Take care. Dorothy Bush. And Eric, come on. Thank you, Eric. I love you. And Ruth Owen. And Charlie Ward. And the Hardys. Come on up. Let's make this thing glad. Dusty, where are you? Here's the man I want to say hello to. Come on up here. This is Nick Vanoff, the executive producer. And Eric Lever, come on up here, Eric. These men have given of their time for this cause. Bobby Shera, our director.
Portions of this program have been pre-recorded. Meeting of the Minds was produced by Steve Allen. Appearing with Mr. Allen were Whit Bissell, Peter Romolo, Joe Early, Jane Meadows, Harry Raypool, Simon Scott, Malachi Throne, and George Wallace. Also appearing on tonight's telethon were Bob Arbogast, Jennifer Bishop, True Boardman, Eddie Carroll, Jack Denton, Ann Elder, Alan Hoffrecht, Peter Leeds, Jim McCrell, Bob Ridgely, Susan Tulsky, Janet Waldo, and Jesse White. This is Dick Tufel speaking.